Listen to me very carefully. I want you to stop whatever else you are doing right now. Take a deep breath and let this one simple sentence sink into your brain. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to knock on your bedroom door tomorrow morning with a magic wand and fix your life. No one is going to suddenly understand you perfectly, give you all the answers to your homework, or hand you through the amazing future you dream about. Now, wait a second. I know exactly what you might be thinking. You are probably thinking, wow, that sounds really sad. Why would you tell me that? Or you already know that. But I promise you, it is not sad at all. In fact, by the end of this video, you are going to see why this is actually the most amazing, exciting, and freeing news you will ever hear. I'm going to show you a secret about how the human brain works and why realizing that no one is coming to save you is the exact moment you unlock your hidden superpower. So get comfortable, grab a snack, and let's talk about why taking control of your own story is the greatest adventure you will ever go on. Many people spend their entire lives sitting in the waiting room of life. They wait for motivation to magically appear. They wait for someone to give them permission to be great. They think, I will start trying hard when the time is perfect. Guess what? Time is never perfect. Or when someone comes to help me. Guess what? No one is going to help you. Or maybe come to help you. But waiting is a trap. The longer you wait for someone else to fix things, the weaker you feel. It is like holding a video game controller that isn't plugged in. You are just watching the screen, hoping the other player wins the game for you. Scientists have studied this feeling of waiting. They have a fancy name for it. They call it learned helplessness. But to make it simple, let's call it the invisible glass wall. To understand this, let me tell you a story about a science experiment with a big fish. A long time ago, a scientist put a very hungry, very big fish called a pike into a large tank of water. On the other side of the tank, the scientist put a bunch of tiny, yummy minnows. The big fish saw its dinner and swam as fast as it could to eat them. But there was a trick. The scientist had placed a thick, clear glass wall right in the middle of the tank. Smack, the big fish hit its nose on the glass. It swam back and tried again. Smack, it hit the glass again. The big fish tried for hours, bumping its nose over and over again. Finally, the big fish got tired. It stopped trying. It learned that no matter what it did, it couldn't reach the food. It gave up. A few days later, the scientist did something. He quietly pulled the glass wall completely out of the tank. The tank was totally open. The tiny minnows swam everywhere. They even swam right in front of the big fish nose. But guess what? The big fish never tried to eat them again. It just sat there and starved. Why? Because in the big fish mind, the glass was still there. It had learned to be helpless. It believed it was trapped, even when it was completely free. When you sit around waiting for someone to save you, you are acting exactly like that big fish. You have a massive brain, you have amazing potential, but because you are waiting for help, you have convinced yourself that you are trapped behind a wall. The wall is not real. You just have to decide to swim forward. You might be wondering, but wouldn't it be easier if someone else did just save me? Wouldn't it be nice if someone else did the hard work for me? Actually, no. Let me tell you an incredible true story from history to prove it. In the year 1970, 3 astronauts were flying in a spaceship called Apollo 13, heading straight for the moon. They were over 200,000 miles away from Earth. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. An oxygen tank had exploded. The spaceship was losing power, and they were running out of air to breathe. Down on Earth, the scientists at NASA were panicking. They could talk to the astronauts on radio, but there was one huge, terrifying problem. NASA could not fly up there and save them. No one was coming to rescue them in space. The astronauts had to fix themselves. They have to figure out how to put a square air filter into a round hole using nothing but plastic bags, cardboard, and duct tape. If those astronauts had sat down, cried, and waited for someone from Earth to come save them, they would not have survived. Instead, they took a deep breath, looked at the duct tape, and said, "What are we going to do about this?" They worked together, built a filter, and safely flew their broken ship all the way back to Earth. They become heroes. This is what psychologists call having an internal locus of control. That is a big science term, but it means something very simple: believing that your choices matter. There are two types of people in the world. The first type believes they are just a passenger in a car. If the car breaks down, they sit in the back seat, cry, and wait for a tow truck. The second type believes they are the driver. If the car breaks down, they pop up the hood and try to fix the engine. Studies shows that people who act like drivers are happier, healthier, and way more successful. Believing you are responsible for your life makes you stronger. Waiting for rescue makes you weaker. Even in the hardest moments of your life, you are the driver. A famous doctor named Viktor Frankl wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. He lived through a terrible prison camp where everything was taken away from him. But he discovered a powerful truth. He wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing: to choose one's attitude." Even when you cannot control what happens to you, you can always control how you react. That is your magic power. Right now, you might be saying, "I understand. I want to be the driver, but I don't feel brave yet. I will start tomorrow when I feel more confident." This is the sneakiest trick your fear ever play on you. Fear disguises itself as being realistic. It says, "Now is not the perfect time." But let me tell you a massive secret about successful people. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect moment. Think about the Wright brothers. There were two brothers who owned a bicycle shop, but they had a crazy dream. They wanted to build a flying machine. They wanted to invent the airplane. Did they wait until someone gave them a flying license? No. Did they wait until they felt 100% perfect confident? No. They built weird machines made out of wood and cloth, and they crushed them into the sand over and over again. They felt uncertain. They felt scared, but they acted anyway. Confidence does not arrive first. Action does. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Did you sit on the couch, read a book about bikes, and suddenly feel totally confident? Of course not. You get on the bike, you felt terrified, and you probably fell into the grass maybe a couple of 100 times. But you got back up and you paddled again. And after you finally rode down the street without falling, then you feel confident. Action always comes first. The confident comes second. If no one is coming to save you, it means you didn't have to wait for the right time anymore. You can just start. You do not need to fix your entire life today. Trying to fix everything all at once is impossible and will only make you freeze up. What you need is just one tiny, honest step forward. How do you take that tiny step? A famous writer named James Clear wrote a brilliant book called Atomic Habits. He explains that every action you take is like dropping a ballot into a voting box. Every choice is a vote for the type of person you want to become. If you choose to do your homework instead of playing a video game, you drop a vote in the box that says, I'm a hard worker. If you choose to tell the truth even when you are scared, you drop a vote in the box that says, I am an honest person. If you choose to do 10 push-ups when you wake up, you drop a vote in the box that says, I am an athlete. But here is the scary part. Every day you sit around waiting is also a vote. It is a vote to stay exactly the same. It is a vote to put your dreams on pause. So I want you to ask yourself honestly, who have you been waiting for? Are you waiting for someone to say, good job? Are you waiting for things to get easier? Because the longer you wait, the more time you throw away. Thousands of years ago, a smart Greek philosopher named Aristotle figured this out. He said, we are what we repeatedly do. If you repeatedly wait for someone to save you, you become someone who waits. If you repeatedly take action, you become someone who trusts themselves. Discipline is not a punishment. Discipline is a self-respect and action. When you keep promises to yourself, you build armor around your brain. Now, before we finish, I need to make one thing crystal clear. Saying no one is coming to save you does not mean you have to be lonely. It does not mean you can't have friends. Community matters, teachers matter, parents matter. Asking for help is actually one of the bravest things a human being can do. But there is a gigantic difference between support and rescue. Imagine you're trying to climb a steep mountain. Support is when a friend walks right next to you, cheers you on, hands you a bottle of water, and gives you a high five when you get tired. Rescue is when you refuse to walk, sit on the ground, and demand that your friend carries you up the mountain like a baby. A good friend or teacher will hold your hand and point the way, but they cannot take the steps for you. Growth requires that you walk. You have to use your own 2 feet to climb the mountain of your life. So let's look at the truth one last time. No one is coming to save you, and that's good. It means your future is not locked behind someone else's actions. It means your life is not stuck on pause. It means the door to the cage has been unlocked this entire time. The only question left is this: will you stand up and step through? Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait until you feel ready. Step through it right now. Even if you are imperfect, even if you are scared, even if you don't know exactly what will happen next. Because the exact moment you stop waiting for someone to save you, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You become the author of your own story. And that is when your life truly begins. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I will see you in the next video.